What have you been working on, man?
This meeting is being recorded.
Um, I'm still is get stuck on the Canada. Yeah, but I'm recently try to integrate FileMaker with another web system. So
Okay.
I just create a HTML file and with FileMaker data, and then I export it on desktop and open the HTML file and do some JavaScript stuff. I'll just auto press the submit button. It is a form.
Okay.
Very long form, yeah. And I've tried to close the one of the tab and basically I have a form. Then I auto submit and press the button, and then it will create another tab. So firstly I would like to close the first tab and remain the second tab, but it seems that there's some security issues. I could not do that.
Hmm. Yeah,
I could do that on Mac and using Chrome. If I try to switch to Firefox and Safari and Edge, it seems not working.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's so you're trying to make a form in JavaScript to no?
Yeah.
Yeah, to pass data back to FileMaker. Is it in the web viewer or is it in some other place?
Oh, not in the web viewer.
Okay. All right. So I'm not sure. That's interesting. Okay. I've built some forms before for different things, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm kind of just using React and other frameworks to build those forms, I guess. Maybe we could explore it today. So you have a web viewer in a FileMaker file. You said it's created by FileMaker data. And then you enter some stuff into these input fields, and then when you press submit, that data gets sent back, right?
Sent out.
Sent
actually.
out. Okay.
Yeah.
Sent out.
From FileMaker to out to the web system.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, are you bringing it back into FileMaker to send out? Because I feel like that would probably be the only way to do it. Just, you know what I'm saying?
Just pass the data. Just pass data from FileMaker to the web system.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure if you could do that, actually. I don't know. I have no idea because I've never done it. What I would do in that case, I think, is just pass it to FileMaker and then let FileMaker take it out to the web page, wherever that is. So
Okay.
I don't know, but anyway, well, cool. Well, Sam H from Egypt, this is what I'm showing here is what the purpose of this time is to just go over some JavaScript stuff that's for FileMaker. Sam has been coming to every one of these, so he's seen a lot of this before, over and over. But it's about using JavaScript to render something in a FileMaker web viewer using data from FileMaker. And what I did with what this is an example is something I'm doing in my training course where we're learning how to put JavaScript in FileMaker, a FileMaker data in the JavaScript web viewer and then pass it in. And what in the training course we did is we built this little this idea where this one web viewer is only one web viewer can handle two different types of data pretty easily, pretty simply. And so that's pretty cool. What I thought I would do is actually, I'm not sure if I did this. I can't remember. I was thinking about it. 1 second. All right, there we go. What was I going to do? So yeah, so this is the ability, and when we haven't done this yet, but I can click on a row and I can send that row back to FileMaker, and I can let FileMaker then find that record in the database, in the table. So Sam from Egypt, how long have you been working in FileMaker?
So it was a full-time developer since 2011.
Okay.
Before that, I was doing, if you are familiar with data scraping and things like that,
Oh, no.
manipulating data, things like that. I was working in a company and we had to deal with a lot of data. That's how I found out about FileMaker. And it was really handy. So I just quit my job and kept working as a freelancer on that.
That's cool. All right. Do you work by yourself? You said you just freelance, right? So
Yeah, I work as a freelancer since that time, since 2011. So
right.
yeah, it's just I get projects. Sometimes I get something like a client who make an agreement for a support. It's basically something like that. It's either a project or an agreement for support for a company or an entity.
okay, that's great. You stay pretty busy. Do you do work only in the Egypt area, or do you do work outside of that as well?
Surprisingly, I never had a client in Egypt. All my
Okay.
clients are United States or Norway. So yeah, I never had an actual client in Egypt.
Okay.
I did some work for a police station, like a police department before, but it was just one-time project, nothing really serious.
Is there a community of FileMaker people there near you?
In Egypt, there are I know of 3 people.
Okay.
I taught one of them, and I know there are 2 others that are working, but all of them are just working freelancers for Europe or Australia or United States, Canada, things like that.
Okay.
Because there isn't really much in the Middle East and East Europe. There isn't really a big market for FileMaker or many companies that work with FileMaker.
Okay. That's very cool. I'm starting to get to know people from all over the world, and it gives me it's nice to hear that there's people all over doing stuff, and there's maybe a small community or something in Egypt. Good. Well, cool. So I've been just kind of like rolling in my head what I want to talk about. This is really just I'm curious, Sam. Since your first time here, what are you interested in? What's your thoughts about JavaScript? Have you done anything like that? Are you exploring it because you need to now? What's your thoughts of JavaScript? How much have you used it already?
Well, for me, JavaScript, it's like how do I say it? It's a section or a tool that it's either can make things more efficient, but in the same time, it will make it really complicated. So yeah, so for example, you have a portal right here. We can call this a portal or a table.
Uh-huh.
The thing I like about this one is it will not be, how do I say it, frozen or laggy
Yep.
or clunky if I have a lot of records. So if I have a portal, which is the native solution, and I have, let's say, 100,000 records,
Yep.
it will not be as smooth as what you have right here.
That's correct.
Especially if I have fields that are coming from relationships or calculation or summary or things like that.
That's correct.
That's what I like about JavaScript. It's if I have a huge workload, like thousands of records, let's say invoices, for example, it will make it not usable. I saw this so many times, and I had to switch from using the list view or using portals to using JavaScript.
That's correct. So you've
Yeah,
done
so
some
that's-
JavaScript.
Sorry?
You've done some JavaScript then.
Yeah, I done a couple. Like
Okay.
the most advanced thing I tried to do was if you are familiar with Gantt charts.
Yeah.
I tried to do that for a client, but I couldn't like really do it. So
Okay.
we had to settle for something that is similar.
Okay.
But yeah, Gantt chart, it's the limit for me right now. I'm trying to get an idea how to do it, but there isn't really a good way.
Yeah, you're right. It does add a bunch of complexity, I think. And for me, the complexity is worth it if it solves the problem. And you pointed out the most valuable one for this is that you're right. It's just text, right? It's not, there's no calculations. There's no related data that one has to show on the graph. It's on the table. It's just strings of text. And it comes in pretty quickly. Now this file is local. Let's see here. Let's see what's going on. Let's save that. This file is local. But it's still, there's 206 records in this table that's pulling. If I load this one, it takes just a second or two, and it's loading 9,726 records. So, it's loading the entire table, all the records in the table, and there's 487 pages of 20 or so each. So that's really pretty awesome. And yeah, it's just text. So it's loading everything, and then I can do some further filtering, like I can find all the inquiry statuses and work with those and so forth. So yeah, so this gives us a chance to really show a lot of data quickly. And it's cool because it could potentially be a list view like you mentioned, but it could also be a portal, which is great. We could put this somewhere in an app that's just a small section of a screen rather than the entire screen like this one is. And it could just show like related data, but not using the related data idea. Instead, getting the related data and then putting it in here as just static text. So to me, that's pretty dang useful. And it's my goal during my training sessions to help people see how this can be done so that they can use it themselves and build data sets that show here. So yeah, that's it. And my training course works with people in this. So I'm over here, I'm in VS Code and I'm writing stuff. And whenever I make a change over here, I can reload it and that change will reflect over here. So if I come in here and I do you know, I can change, let's see, I forgot what it is. It's Bootstrap table. So if I look at, if I want to change some styling of this, I could come in here and say maybe table dark. Table dark. And then, so if I make a change over here in the code base and then I reload it, I can get a fresh look of it. This basically becomes my layout mode where I'm making the changes and then I'm seeing it render in the web viewer. This is called my JavaScript development environment. It's what I've been using to do all my trainings and build widgets for people, build data tables and charts and stuff for people. So this has really solved a lot of the problems for me that JavaScript has had working in FileMaker. It's really a pain to work in FileMaker, JavaScript in FileMaker sometimes. I've gone through all of the ways that I could do it. And I'm finding that this is probably one of the better ways to work with JavaScript in FileMaker. This is what I used to do. Let's see here. So I used to have it's coming up here. I used to have a FileMaker file that had an HTML field and it contained fields for the different parts of the JavaScript that's necessary. This used to be how I did it, and I would type my HTML in there and my CSS and so forth. And then I would have one field that was the calculation field that did some substitution. This placeholder that was in the HTML would be substituted out for the actual text in a particular field. Just like that. So that then when, here's my HTML, here is a placeholder. So whatever CSS I wrote, right, that's here would be put into here in that calculation. And we can see that here. So instead of it saying CSS right here, it actually puts in that code from that field. And so then the web viewer that I'm working with reads that field, that calculation field, and renders it. So data is coming in this way. The styling is, here's the JavaScript library. The JavaScript library contains a substitution for the data. So the data that's right here comes in right here and is made available to the rest of the function. But, and this worked fine. The problem is, of course, when I'm working with this, when I'm trying to write this, I could, all of this styling all of the indents are off, and it's just text. It's just text in a field. So I can update something, but if I make a mistake, then I could easily lose all my work and I could get a bunch of errors because somehow I made a mistake in here and I didn't know what mistake I made. So this gives me that looks weird. This gives me a chance. So this was fine. But then I moved over to this idea where I have my VS Code over here, a proper code editor. Proper code editor, and then I type stuff in here and I connect it to a FileMaker file. This is just a dev file. And then when I get it how I want it to be, I can put this into I can actually deploy this code. So this code that runs this will go into this HTML field. So I still have an HTML field. So I can go over here to my VS Code. And here, I'll zoom in a little bit so we can see. Actually, that's not the one. NPM run build : upload. This will upload all of the code that's in here into this FileMaker field. So we got all here, and then I can turn off dev mode, and I can load it and it will still work. So the VS Code doesn't need to be open. I can just let the code in here work. And then I don't have to worry about any calculations. I don't have to do any development in this. I don't want to touch this, to be honest. I would rather just let it be for the for production. And then if people need a change, I can open up VS Code again. Let's do that. Let's open up code again. Bring up that same file. Maybe they don't like that dark, so I'll just get rid of that. That styling, redeploy it, and then close VS Code. And then when I reload it, it's updated with whatever they wanted. So I now have a new configuration. So this is where, as a FileMaker developer, I think I've landed on, because it's just so much easier to type over here and let this application that's really good at formatting code take care of it for me, so that I don't have to worry about typing in a field like that previous one and then messing something up. So again, if I make one mistake, like, I mean, this is a pretty good example. When I'm putting in some options and I forget a comma, it's gonna bust. And I'm like, I have no idea what happened. I can use the console to inspect the element, but it's not very useful. You know, I got rid of just one little comma and that messed everything up. It's impossible to tell over here. If I were in VS Code and I made a mistake and I forgot a comma, then it's telling me right away, hey, you got an issue with your code. Yeah, I can see with that, with the underlines there, the red underline, that there's a problem. So this is where I am. And because I work in JavaScript for FileMaker every day, I think this is the best way to go. Much easier to use than this. Like, there's all the formatting is way off. It's really annoying. So need to update this to fit this. In fact, I may try that today, but yeah. Sam, do you, as being here for the first time, is this, what do you think of this idea here? How have you written JavaScript for FileMaker?
Well, for me, I am using the software that you already have. I'm not using the solution that you came up with. It's the VS Code.
Yep.
I'm actually using a similar thing to the solution you had up here right now, the FileMaker one.
Okay.
So I am editing things inside FileMaker.
Yep.
And yeah, I see the results in another tab and see if I'm wrong or not.
Yep.
And what I do if I can't figure out where is the problem is, I just copy it and put it in a VS Code.
Oh.
The caveman.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I never actually thought about combining VS Code with FileMaker like that.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I have is because I worked with people who have done this, have extensive experience, and came up with this idea of using this. There's been a few people in the community that have done this, but when I worked with Todd Geist on building the add-ons that are in FileMaker 19, we came up with this method, and then I started to use it for just simple widget kind of things. So yeah, it's just so much easier. And of course I've gotten used to using VS Code The color coding, by far is better, and the
Yeah.
auto indentation and such. So, yeah. Let's see here. Sam, you asked, have you tried creating something like a date picker? When you press a date, the time slot of that date will pop up and allow our user to choose a time slot. That's interesting. I'm not sure. I mean, so this is a good question for, working with JavaScript. Most of the time, we as FileMaker developers are just going to find a library to work with. Like, this thing that creates this is a library that created this slider for me. So it looks nicer than a regular slider. And I'm using a library called No UI slider. And then I'm using that in some JavaScript to create one section per question. So if I got rid of, say, all of these questions, if I got rid of those, then the JavaScript would handle just the 3 questions that are in there. So that's pretty useful. Let's put that data back. So see, no formatting. There we go. There we go. Okay. So we're mostly using libraries to do stuff, maybe combined with some regular JavaScript, some regular HTML and stuff. I guess if I were to create, when you press a date, the time slot of that date will pop up and allow our user to choose a time slot. I don't know, man. I have worked with date libraries before. I've got a date range picker somewhere here. Actually, do I have that? Let's see. See if I can find something. I would probably use a library, but the idea of clicking on it to open up time slots, that's an interesting idea. Is that something, Sam, you're trying to figure out now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my colleague has asked me before.
Yeah.
Asked me about that.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm trying to find. Here it is. So let's see if I have a date picker in here. Yeah, I do. So again, this is one of my old style. I've just got this, nothing fancy, but it doesn't do the time slot that you were thinking about. So I'm not sure how I would do that. I guess, I mean, the date picking is an important part, but maybe it's once I pick on a date, it could open up a FileMaker window that lets them pick the time slot. I don't know. I have to think through that and see how that might be done.
Yeah, maybe we can create a virtual list. And
Yeah.
when press the days, then
Yeah.
then we can collect the data of that day, the available time slot, and display the result in on
Well, you
on the
could,
virtual table. Yeah.
you could kind of combine this. You could say, pick a date, open that, and then it opens up a data table of the time slots that then they could pick one, pick a row, and then that could send it to FileMaker. So that's interesting. It's an interesting idea.
Maybe I try.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Great. So yeah, this is what I've been playing with, and this is what my community and the time that I have with people is all about, is helping them learn JavaScript. It's not like learning everything about JavaScript, but it's learning enough to understand a little bit about what to do. Yesterday in my training, I'll show you what we did yesterday. We worked with this. I need to open up VS Code. Let's fix that up. npm start. And then what we did is we built this. We were playing with manipulating data. So we were taking data that looks like this. This is coming from FileMaker. It's just inside of the JavaScript for now. And creating a button for each one of them along the way. So I could take this record and turn it into a UI element that allows for someone eventually to click on it and open it up. Not quite done with that part yet, but that's the whole idea of this is to, I'm gonna get rid of this, is to do this. So when I have these, I basically have a user interface where people can find the company, and then they can click on it and open it up. So we spent a lot of time yesterday with how JavaScript manipulates data, and we learned how to write a filtering function so that we want to return only the records where one of the records has a US state of Texas. So if let's see, I'm gonna make some changes here. That, and then company. So there we go. So now I've created an interface where it's just 3 records whose state is Texas. And if I change this to, where's that Texas word? If I change this to California, now I have 2 records. If I change it to Florida, I have another 3 records, and so forth. So that's what this was about, working with people yesterday to try to understand how to work with this. There we go. That's what I wanted. So there we go. So I was able to take all 100 of those records and create a button for each one, eventually to click on and to pass the data back. So this might be a good idea for some sort of like menu, like a layout navigator kind of thing. That might be interesting. So yeah, so there's a lot of good stuff that I could do with this JavaScript stuff. And there's no library here. It's all just my own working with JavaScript. There's a function here to create a button for each of the states that I'm working with, each of the records. This is that filtering function here that will return only the records where the state is Florida. And then I'm able to take those 2 functions and run them against the data there. So I take 3 records, and for each of those records, I create a button and pass it to and add it to this section here where it can be rendered on the web viewer. So anyway, that's let's see, let's do that. There we go. Oops. It's a little bit, gotta do some finagling, but yeah, there we go. So cool. I don't know, I think, let's see. Trying to.
So you use the Bootstrap as your CSS styling
That's
library?
correct. Yep. Just so I don't have to think
You
about
try
it.
other CSS library?
What other CSS libraries?
Yeah, another one.
I also use Tailwind. It's a little bit more challenging, and I actually can't get it to work in my environment. But it does a lot of nice stuff, making things look really nice, like all that. That's pretty awesome. I can't yet get it to work because I haven't figured it out. I haven't figured it out yet about how to get this to work, but this is what it looks like. So it's a little bit more extensive, but for each div element, you're adding a bunch of utility class names to it, like Bootstrap, but this is just a little bit more. You can actually pick breakpoints, which I think is pretty cool. If I take this, I can squeeze it, and it shows it. The CSS is handling how it's looking and where things render based on the width of the layout. So it works for mobile devices as well as the browser or the desktop. So yeah, so this is one that I use as well. I use this for real like web projects. Like I said, I haven't been able to get it to work in my development environment yet. So anyway, that's one that I've been using.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to explore. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think I mean that's good for today. I think I'm just here to talk about this. If you have any other thoughts or questions, we can do that. We can talk through that. What else is on your mind about this? Do you have any thoughts or questions here?
Is that possible to add some animation? Yeah, on the button.
Like to do what? To
Like maybe just when you pop over the button, you will enlarge or something like that.
yeah, I don't know.
Maybe
I'll have to look. Let's see. That's interesting. So there's some animations. I don't know how to. I want to see Bootstrap for animation. Does Bootstrap 4 have any animations? Let's see here. No. Let's see. Sliding entrances. I don't know what any of this is. Add the class animated to the element that you want to animate and add one of the following classes. That's interesting. I guess we could try it. So dot animated and then dot bounce. Let's see what that does. Let's do. I don't know how it works. So let's see. Dynamically, no. Add class. This is animated. Okay, that's correct. Basic usage. Initialize the script. What's wow? I don't know what this. Let's see. Interesting. Okay. How do you trigger it though? That's interesting. Animations on scroll, options. Animated bounce out left. Yeah, I don't know how this works. I've never used animations. And I wouldn't know how it does it. Let's see. Well, let's just try this. Bounce infinite.
Let's see. I did it once, but I just copied the code and put it at the end of the page
Yeah.
function. Yeah. So
I don't know. Something is maybe this is why. Before internet, oh, that's why. Okay, maybe that's get rid of that. Yeah, huh, I don't know. Not giving me any errors.
one second.
I wonder if I need to add I bet I need to add.
Also,
I bet I need to add the bootstrap second for JavaScript. Because all I'm doing, oh wait, do I have it in here? Bootstrap. Oh, I do have it. Okay, bootstrap for JavaScript button animation. I'm just gonna, let's see, swing animation button. Let's see if this gives me what I want. Okay, so that's what we're interested in. Let's see. Is there an animation that I need? That's interesting. No. I don't know, man. I'm not sure how this works. Yeah, I'm not sure. Bootstrap. I guess I could copy this, see if this works. jQuery, I got that in there and got Font Awesome. So let's go to here. Let's do, what am I going to do? This is a script tag. Source equals this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, something's up. I haven't done much animation stuff, in at least in FileMaker, because people don't ask a whole lot about that, but that's interesting.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, cool. Well, I guess let's call it for today. This was interesting. I love, I'm glad, Sam, you just joined the community. I'm glad you saw this in there. And I love if you, since you've done some JavaScript, I'm trying to get that community to be like more active. It's a bit tough. I wish I kind of need to do it full time to focus on this right here. And so it's fun to get more people in that know some JavaScript so that they can, post examples or ask questions or stuff. So if you have something cool to show us, Sam, I'd love for you to throw it up in here in a post and show people what you're doing. You can certainly say hello. That would be great. Let people know who you are, and then do some show us what's going on. I'm also trying to trying to set up a YouTube channel where I'm just publishing quick videos on things that other people have asked me about that I'm not quite sure about. So, and then when I do training sessions, I record the session and it goes in there for people to view. So for people in the training to view. So anyway, this, Sam, if you're ever interested, this is available. This in development environment is available as a template inside of GitHub.
Yep.
So I'll chat it over to everyone. So, you can use this and start to explore it. I've got some documentation about it. about how to use it. So that might be interesting as well. And one more thing, I've got a video that shows how to, let's see if I can find it. Pivot table, there we go, this one here. Okay, I got this one here that shows it as well. So yeah, take a look, see what you think, and love to hear your thoughts about it.
Thanks, man. I'll check it today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Alright.
By the way, I may try to introduce your environment in the user group. Hope
Good.
it will be some new people to
Okay.
the forum. Yeah.
That's great. All right, all. Well, good to talk to you, and I appreciate Sam and Sam today. That's pretty cool. And welcome, Sam, to the community. I'm glad you're here with us.
Thank you. It's awesome being part of a community that I can relate to.
Okay. Yeah. Good. 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 All right, both of you. Well, thanks. I will talk to you next week then.
Awesome. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.